Now it's time for Ruth 1:6. See if you can pronounce the Hebrew. And here's my pronunciation. Vatikam, not the Vatican, that's in Italy, but Vatikam, he, vakaloteha. So let's do this one slowly. Vakaloteha. And this is a doubled lamed. So the first lamed goes with the kaf, and the second lamed goes with the tet. So vakaloteha. And usually the accent is on the second to last syllable when you have a suffix like that. More on that in a second. Vatashav. Very similar. Vatakam and vatashav. And what does it mean? Well, vav patak doubling is a converted imperfect or a preterite. It's a simple past tense, often used in narratives. That means that this is an imperfect performative, this tav in both cases. It is a third feminine singular. I know because he is she. So this is the word for she, the pronoun. Don't need it necessarily, but it's, makes it very clear it's talking about Naomi. And she arose. She arose. Anyway, you'll notice that there aren't enough letters here. Usually there would be 3, and you only have 2 here, and you only have 2 here. These are both weak verbs, but is it the first consonant that's gone away, the second, or the third? Here's where knowing some vocabulary comes in handy. This is kum, and this is shuv. So it's a hollow verb. It's a middle weak verb. A vav is missing. So this is, and she arose, and this is, and she returned. Both of these are call or G, Grundstamm, the basic stem, nothing funny going on there. So it is a converted imperfect, third feminine singular, call from third masculine singular, or third feminine singular. I already said that. From kum and from shuv. So, and she arose, and kaloteha is, I believe, daughters-in-law. Let's bring the translation up here. Yeah. And she arose, and let me go ahead and pause for a second here. Okay, I apologize. I've got my limits to the screen a little off there, but that's okay. You can see rose. Rose. And she arose, and her daughters-in-law. So the ha at the end is a possessive suffix. That's where the her comes from. The yod tells me it's plural. And then kaloa, I guess, is probably the word, I'm guessing, for daughter-in-law. So that's an and. All right. So, and she and her daughters-in-law arose, and she returned. Same parsing here. Vav patak doubling, converted imperfect, third feminine singular, call stem from shuv to return. And she rose, and her daughters-in-law, and she returned to. See if you can pronounce this line. Here's my attempt. Mishadei Moab, from the fields of Moab. Ki, for, Shama'ah, she heard, Bisday, in the field of Moab. She heard something while she was in the field of Moab. Have you heard it? I heard something. Anyway, so she returned from the fields of Moab. So mem, hirik, doubling is min, and nun assimilates when no vowel separates. So it's been sucked into the sin and became doubled sin. That's really bad, doubled sin. Man, one sin is bad. Anyway, Sarah Yod is masculine plural construct, fields of Moab, right? So she returned from the fields of Moab, ki, for, this is a conjunction, junction, what's your function? Hooking up words and phrases and clauses. Anyway, she heard, shama'u. This is the kamatz hey tells me it's a third feminine singular perfect in this case. This was a third feminine singular imperfect, although it was converted, so it was past tense. And then this is also past tense. Why converted imperfect here and why perfect here? I don't know. There's maybe a reason that somebody knows out there. Tell me in the comments. So Shema'u, Shema, hear, O Israel. But this is, and she heard. And that's a vocal schwa just because of the pattern. If you know the pattern of the perfect, you know that that's a vocal schwa, which means that this is a long A kamatz. And it would be a vocal schwa after a long vowel. For she heard in the field of Moab. This is singular. This is not the same as a seri plural, but I do think it's construct again. But it's a construct singular for some reason. This is a preposition ba in. Okay, so let's keep going. We're almost done with the verse. See if we can pronounce this final part of the verse. I'll try. Ki pakad Adonai, or Yahweh, et am-o. And then, now this is interesting. Look at this. This is, I think it's almost poetic here. Latet lahem lachem. Latet lahem lachem. It has a ring to it, doesn't it? So what does it translate to? She heard in the field of Moab that Yahweh visited his people. This is a pakad. It's not Picard from Star Trek. It's pakad. This is a third masculine singular perfect. G, it's a basic stem. That God had visited, that Yahweh had visited his people. Is people, and Holam Vav is a his, possessive suffix. His people. Et is the definite direct object marker. Direct object approaching. That God, Yahweh had visited his people. Latet, to give. Lahem, bread. Lachem. I'm sorry. I have it switched around. Let me fix it. Beep, beep, beep. There, now it's fixed. To give to them bread. So lahem is, hem is an object pronoun, so them, and la is two. All of these are two. La, two. Lachem is just the word for bread, Bethlehem. So there's bread in Bethlehem again. The house of bread has bread. It's intended, I think, to be clever and maybe a little bit of double entendre. So she's going back to Bethlehem. She's going back to the house of bread because it now has bread. Lahem I mentioned. So what is latate? Latate is a little bit of, it's a little involved. It is actually Natan. Nathan is to give. Nathan gives a lot. So the problem here is that only one of the consonants is left of Natan. You don't have a doubled final letter, so there's no nun assimilating here. And first nuns tend to get chopped off in the infinitive construct. So Natan notoriously loses its first n in the infinitive construct. And then the last n, it can't double the... And this is kind of ballast, kind of like we need to anchor that thing down. And so that's where the tate comes from. So you kind of have to know the word. This is a hard one. And you just kind of have to, familiarity will tell you what it is. But it's Natan, to give. The first nun has gone away, got chopped off, and the second nun fizzled out into the environment. But it means to give. So she heard, Naomi heard, that Yahweh had visited his people to give bread to them. There you have it. Ruth 1:6.